everyone, it's Judy. Welcome back to Rose Lane. Alright, as you can see, my voice is pretty much back. I still have a few sniffles, but I think that's really from all the pollen. Our pollen count is pretty high. So, you know, I have indoor and outdoor allergies. So, but you know what? It is what it is. So I may be a little sniffly, but I think that's mostly because of the pollen that's out. We're at a medium high today. We were at very high yesterday. So yeah, so I've taken my allergy medicine. I think I'm okay. All right. What I'm going to do here is, and I think this is probably going to be the last piece that I have to worry about, and then I'm going to bind. I'm going to get the Olivia journal, the signatures bound into the cover. Even though the cover isn't finished yet, I'm going to be working on that as well. But we're getting there. We're getting there, guys. I'm coming now to a point where the pieces that are going to go in are going to be, you know, more normal pockets and things like that. So they're not like whole page things that I have to finish before I can bind the book. So before I can bind the journal. So I believe this should be the last piece. I had said in a previous video that I was going to do 5 of these, 1 for each signature, but I'm really running out of space in this journal to put anything else. So I decided only on 3, and I won't do the other 2. Let me see if I can find, I have the first one. Whoops, hang on a second. I'm trying to just pick up one. Oh, well, here. This was the last one I had done, and you can see it's. Let me see if you can see. It's kind of, you know, it's not bulky. It's pretty flat, but when you consider all the other stuff that I have going into this journal, it's you know, it's weighty. So and then I have one in here, and then there's going to be another one. Now they may not stay where I have them because I have to be somewhat symmetrical. If I can't do 5 and I'm going to do 3, they're going to end up in the 1st, 3rd, and 5th signature, because, you know, I have to have some sort of symmetry. One day I'm just going to go wild and I'm going to just wing everything. It'll be awesome. I have no idea what to expect out of that. But anyway, somebody had asked how I put, let me get that one back out, how I had put this one together, and I tried to explain what I did to make the pockets, and simply all I did, and let me take this out so you can see, I lined it with just plain white copy paper because I didn't really want to just use a tea or coffee stained paper, you know, to line it, because you're really not going to see it for the most part. And I only glued it top and bottom. Okay, so this one was actually lined, so because it is just copy paper that I'm using, and you can see how flimsy that would have been if I didn't line it. So I did line it to give it some more, you know, structure, to make it sturdier on this one. And then all I had done was like I had said, I had printed 2 of the images reversed, one going one way, and then I flipped it to go the other way, and then you saw that I, you know, lined them up so that they would be on top of each other, and you'd have one on either side, so that when this, whoops, I picked up something else, so that when this went in between them, trying to get it in between them, come on you, I know you fit, I just took you out. Okay, so when that goes in between, there we go, come on. You have the printing behind this image and then the printing behind this image, okay? So that's really all I had done with putting this together. So what I'm going to show you here, put that back on that side, is I took 2 pieces of, and again, this was copy paper. This one was one of my original ones that I had done. I was just using up some solution that I had left over, and I had tried it on, I think, what was a slightly heavier copy paper. I can't keep it straight half the time, which is bad, because then when I want to do it again, I don't know what I've I've done. But I think this probably had coffee and tea in the solution, and I only had 5 of those. So I had already used 4, so this was the 5th, and when I went to do more, I did it with a tea solution and it came out lighter. But I decided, you know what, that's okay. I'm going to leave it like that. It'll be light on one side and dark on the other, something a little different yet again. So they're not all exactly the same, even though they're a similar, you know, a similar idea. So what I did with this was I put the 2 pieces of paper together. Let me run and get this. Hang on one second. It's going to take me a minute. I'll be right back. You'll hear me flapping. I'm coming. Here I come. I'm still in my pajamas, guys, with my slippers. Well, I always have my slippers on because I don't wear my shoes in the house. Somebody had asked me how I did the whole page. Let me turn this sideways so at least you could see the whole thing. I got this from Amazon. This is the only one I can find so far. I think it was Darice, D-A-R-I-C-E, the company. This says Ellison in China, and it says Sizzix down here, so I guess not. I guess it's a Sizzix die, a Sizzix embossing folder. And I believe it was listed, oops, let me get my other ruler here. This was really not 12. It's like, trying to see, I get glare on this ruler. It's almost 11 3/4. Like 11 5/8 high by 8 1/4. No, 8 1/8 wide. For the actual size of the piece, of course, there's that little border that goes around where you don't get an image. And I know you're getting shiny glare on here, and I'm sorry. But this is how I did the whole sheet. I will try to remember to put the link to this from Amazon in the description box. Like I said, I keep looking for them. I keep putting in large or extra large, or I'm not even sure how I ended up finding this. You know, 8 by 10 or, you know, 9 by 12 or just anything. And it keeps giving me the regular, you know, the regular size ones. I do not know how I came across this, but I will have the link for it in my orders. When you go into your orders, you can, you know, find what you've already ordered before. So I'll look for it there, try to put the link in here. So far, it's the only one I found. If anybody out there knows of any more big ones like this, awesome. If you could let me know, that would be great. And I will share that as well with everybody else. So that's how I did the big pieces. Previously, with these, I just cut these out by hand. I measured a piece, you know, sort of like this. This isn't the one, but I cut a piece out, you know, and just, well, didn't cut a piece out. I measured a square, and cut that out of here. I just placed, you know, where I wanted it to be, and I measured it that way. I think I actually on this one cut one out, then took the paper and laid it over where I wanted the other one, traced it, and then just cut that out. So you can do that as well, or if you have a die cutting machine like I happen to, I've got threads all over my little wipey, you can use things like this, which is what I used on this one. I use this crinkly, well, let me show you the piece here if you could see it a little bit better. Where's that white paper I was using? Here we go. So you can see it a little bit better. So that's what I used, this die cut, and it comes in a set. Again, I got this from Amazon. And it you know, has graduating sizes. You can go down smaller. This was the biggest one. So these are going to be the tracing paper, and it's just tracing paper. It's not vellum. Tracing paper is a lot less expensive than vellum is. So, and this is how we're going to be putting them in here. Now, I didn't double side these. because I'm not going to put anything in between like I did on the other one. This is just going to be a plain frame. And I went ahead and did this. They're both here, as you can tell, okay? Because you can use these somewhere down the road, you know? So I inked the whole pages is what I did. Let me get this out of the way. Actually, let me put this under here so we can see what we're doing. So I inked the whole thing, and all that is you just take your ink and a brush like this, and you go across it. And go across it from every angle so you can get all the spots, you know, all the edges of the embossing. And then I just, you know, did my regular inking around the edges. And that's all that was. I did, I'll think of it, washi tape. I washi taped these together just in a couple places to keep them secure so that I could put it into the embossing folder and emboss them both together. And then I did the same thing with putting the die cut. I placed the die cut where I wanted it, which is this way. Went and I washi taped that down a little bit. Went through, took that out, put it in the other place where I wanted, and ran it through again. Okay, so that's what we did here. So what we're going to do with this, and I'm going to leave this under here just for the sake of using that. So that was my prep work so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue these down. And I think what I want to do is I want to put the paler side on the darker, because I looked at this both ways, and let's have a look at it. Because I didn't know, because obviously the side that you print on is going to be much more bold than the side that you don't. So I looked at it this way, okay, with the pale side with the darker paper, or the dark side with the paler paper, which of course looks beautiful. However, well, let's leave it this way, and then I'll flip it over. When I put the lighter side with the lighter picture, it was okay, but when I put the darker side with the lighter paper, I liked it better. So since I liked this side and I liked that side, I decided that's how I was going to glue them in. Okay, so we're going to just take this one and move that over, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue all around the edge here, which is what I'm going to do right here, and hopefully, all right, get this down. And I'm going to try to kind of go lumpy along the lumpy edges, but I don't want to get too close because I don't want to, whoops, like that. I don't want to have the glue ooze out onto the tracing paper. Another trick that I found, there's two things you could do. One, you can kind of smear it down with your finger a little bit so that it doesn't want to spread so far when you press it, because you already have. And the other thing is to just let it sit for a second, or both. If you let it sit and let it get a little tackier, a little drier, I guess is what I'm trying to say, it's less likely to spread too far out as well. So I'm just going to give that a second. This one I've got stuck. I must have gotten glue on the outside here somewhere, though I don't feel it. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to pat with my finger. Just going to go ahead and pat it with my finger a little bit, and I can feel already a little resistance because it's already starting to dry. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to place this where I think I want it, trying to get it somewhat centered in here. And I'm not worried if the glue goes over the edge, quite honestly, you know, over the edge of the paper, because this is going to get completely glued together. Okay, so why I'm doing this I really don't know, but I'll do it anyway. All right, so we've got that one in. We're going to take this one, put it over here, and we want the dark side out, right? Right. I hope I'm doing this right. Yeah. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue around this one. Just like this. And if I feel, once I've got this all together, if I go back and I feel like these little edges, like these little bump outs are loose and I really don't want them to be, I can just go ahead with my art glitter glue with the teeny tiny little nozzle and just go ahead and put a drop under that little space to keep it flat against the tracing paper without worrying too much, if I'm careful, without worrying too much about it you know, oozing out and getting onto the picture itself. And there's always things that we can do if that does happen, depending on where it is. My nose is so itchy today, and I am still going, which is good. Bring this down a little bit, just a wee bit, okay. And that is, you can always, you know, add some sort of little embellishment, a little butterfly over where the glue might have come, or, you know, something like, you know, where the glue might have ended up showing, or something like that. You can do that. So we let that sit for a second. Let's go ahead and pat that down, and you can see I'm not getting a lot of resistance. It's not coming up with my finger so much, like the glue is like really, see, it's not even on my finger. And I just sort of push that down. So let's go ahead and this one's a little bit bigger, so I want to make sure I'm not losing the leaves if I can help it. Okay, we're just gonna, I'm going this way so that I won't wrinkle the paper, because it's easy to kind of wrinkle the tracing paper. And I think I'm still, yeah, oddly enough, there's a slight little bit hanging over the edge, but that's okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take one end and I'm going to put some glue on it. And this I'm going to try to do quickly because I don't want the glue to dry. I'm putting a considerable amount on, because the more you put on, the more time it'll take to dry. And again, I'm going to turn this towards me so that I can see it a little bit better. And then we're going to try to line this up. And the key here is not just lining up the edges. And again, I cut these together so they should match. They look actually a little, one looks bigger than the other again. But my main thing here is wanting to, and I think it's got to go the other way, is lining up, yes, is lining up the edges of the print, not the print, the die cut, because we want that covered as best as we can. If for some reason when I was doing this the pages shifted and they weren't perfectly aligned, let me get rid of my garbage up here, I can always go back and trim around the outside. But the key thing is trying to make sure that I've got these things lined up where I want them. And that looks pretty good. So I've got this piece down here. So I'm going to go ahead now. And we're going to do this in sections. Oh, I have a little glue on the edges of this one because I had it the wrong way to begin with. All right. We're going to just peel that back, and I might have been a little off camera there. I'm just going to peel that back, and then I'm going to go ahead and get some glue. And again, we don't want to get too far above. Here I'm not too worried about if I go off, but I just don't want it to get into the picture so much. Now, I didn't score this one yet because I wanted to score it when it was to get, not, yeah, score it, I wanted to score it when it was together, you know, glued together, so there would be no shifting, or hopefully there'll be no shifting. I want to put an ample amount of glue on here because we have all those, you know, the dips and ridges from the embossing. So we want to make sure that we get that glue all the way down into those spots. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a little more glue on that end, and hopefully we'll be all right. And actually, let me come down a little further here, so I'm a little bit further away from the picture itself, because I want to continue to be careful while I'm laying it down to keep it all as together as I possibly can. So we're just going to go ahead and let that sort of fall naturally. Okay, we'll press that. I'm going to give it a minute. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to do this in two videos, two shorter videos, I hope. We'll do this, and then I'm going to come back with a second video on, still finding places where I'm sticking, on decorating it. And like I had said, I wasn't going to put something, you know, a hidden journaling space on every one, on like this side and here and on the other side, and you know, so that this would have 4, you know, I wasn't going to do that. I was only going to do some of them, and that way you'd have to figure out which ones, which I thought was kind of fun. Adds a little bit more to the mystery, another layer to the mystery of seeking things out. And again, I'm not saying that for the person who would be using the journal and actually, you know, keeping it and writing in it. What I'm saying that for is for somebody in the future generations, a grandchild or great-grandchild, or, you know, somebody who comes across or inherits these or whatever it might be. The fun of such an interactive piece, the fun of getting to know the person who kept the journal, the extra added adventure of seeking out the hidden places. I don't know, it just suits my personality, I guess. And I just love the idea of that. I love the idea, if I had a great-grandchild, you know, that would eventually get these things and like me, be like a family genealogist, a family historian, and want to know more about me because they never knew me personally. They never had the opportunity to meet me and get to know me. They would know something about my personality simply by having a journal like this, and you know, that I had a journal like this where I thought it was fun and interesting. And somewhere in my journal, I would think I would probably put a note to whoever reads this, you know, in the future, that this is how I was. This is the kind of personality I had. I thought this would be fun, thinking about you in the future, to be looking for these spaces 100 years, 50 years, whatever it is down the road, and learning more about me, and learning that this was kind of the way I thought, and this was kind of the way I was. So this is the, like I said, this is the paler side on the darker paper. So this is the side that was not printed on the tracing paper. This is the side that was. And then when you flip it over, this is the side that was printed on, and this is the lighter. I just thought it looked better that way. The other thing I wanted to say, if you look, I listed where I got these images from in the first or second video, I'm not sure. It was like antique stock or something like that it's called on Etsy. But you're just getting these images. If you look, you can see that there's background on here. And all that is I either go online and I just put in, you know, a modeled background or, you know, whatever it is in different colors, and then I play with it on my computer. Sometimes I do have some of those watercolor splotches. I've bought some of those from some of the Etsy places. There's tons of them. I would have to go look to where I've got them, but if you just go onto Etsy and you put, you know, watercolor splotches, and I usually put in PNG, which means there's no background to it, so you can lay them over each other, and that's all I do. And so they're not coming with these backgrounds like you see them here. You can see here that there's color. I've done that on my own. So there's no specific place I could tell you to go to get that background. I just kind of did it by myself. So you can choose to keep them plain, just clear, with just this image, or you can go get those splotchy things. And on these, this looks like I did a pink one and a green one, and I just laid one over the other, you know, in places. Sometimes I make them bigger, I make them smaller, I lighten them, you know, whatever. It just depends. I just play with them. So anyway, I just wanted to show you more or less how I emboss them, get them the same size, how I cut them out, that kind of thing, and then how we put it together. So that's what this is. I'm going to stop this video here, and I will do a second one, and we're going to come back probably on this one and maybe on the first one that I did, which is over there yet. And we're just going to do a couple of embellishments, and there'll be embellishments on it, but there's going to be a place on this one and a place on the other one where there'll be a hidden journaling spot. The rest is just going to be decoration. So I'll pull all that stuff together. I will do a second video, and that will follow this one, and yeah, so we'll go from there. So that's it for right now, guys. So in the meantime, stay safe, be happy, be blessed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.